From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Jason White. Canadian and American investigators are on scene of yesterday's plane crash at Toronto's Pearson International Airport. CEO Deborah Flynn says the airport authority won't speculate on the cause of the crash as the investigation is ongoing.
We do expect that the investigators on site will be reviewing the aircraft on its current configuration on the runway for the next 48 hours. And we are looking to get to support that investigation and the removal of that aircraft off the runway, at which point we can do our inspections and then return that runway into service.
All 76 passengers and 4 crew members aboard the Delta Airlines regional flight survived the crash. The airline says 19 of 21 passengers taken to hospital have since been released. Chrystia Freeland's Liberal leadership campaign team says she's raised much more money than the number in Elections Canada data today. The official fundraising tally puts her at just over $226,000, but her team says it's more like $600,000. They say the numbers don't include donations to her that were received by the Liberal Party. Either way, Mark Carney leads the fundraising with $1.9 million. Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly says Europeans are unaware of the extent to which the U.S. has threatened Canada's economy. Joly's wrapping up visits to France, Germany, and Belgium that she says have been focused on defending Canadian jobs and shoring up Canada's defense, as the U.S. threatens allies with tariffs and with ending some military cooperation.
Many of them are not necessarily completely aware of what is going on, first in the U.S. and second in Canada. Every country in the world is looking at its own reality, and Europe has its own challenges.
Joly says she's trying to get European allies to coordinate their retaliation to American tariffs with Canada so they have a better chance at stopping them. A Quebec coroner will investigate the death of a 57-year-old man found inside a snow-covered vehicle with its engine running in Montreal. More than 74 centimeters of snow fell on the city in 2 major storms Thursday and Sunday. Canada's annual inflation rate ticked back up in January to 1.9%. Thanks to a spike in gas prices to start the year.
While the inflation report showed relief in prices from the federal government's GST tax break, the jump in gasoline offset it. Prices at the pump rose 8.6% in January compared with a year ago, thanks in large part to Manitoba reintroducing its provincial gas tax after a pause last year. Without Ottawa's tax break, the annual inflation rate would have jumped to 2.7% compared with 2.3% in December. The tax break ended over the weekend. Michelle Zedekian, The Canadian Press.
This is The Canadian Press. In sports, the general manager of the American team at the Four Nations Face-Off says he'd welcome a visit from U.S. President Donald Trump at the championship game against Canada. Bill Guerin told Fox News Trump's tariff threats and talk of making Canada the 51st U.S. state has ratcheted up the rivalry's intensity. The Toronto Blue Jays and slugger Vladimir Guerrero Jr. have not reached an agreement before Guerrero's deadline. Jays GM Ross Atkins says he's disappointed.
Confident that every thought, idea we had, every dollar that we had was communicated. So, but we're obviously disappointed to not have gotten that done.
Guerrero says the Blue Jays were not close to the dollar figure he was looking for. This paves the way for the 25-year-old face of the franchise to become a free agent this fall. In professional women's hockey league action tonight, the Montreal Victoire hosts the defending champion Minnesota Frost. From the Canadian Press, I'm Jason White.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.